Okay, everyone, morning. Happy Monday. I'm Josh Gottheimer here with Congressman Mike Lawler. We're grateful that you're taking a few minutes to spend with us today. I'm going to turn it over first, though, to listen to a gentleman who owns the phenomenal restaurant right behind me, El Posto. Julio Pena is a great guy. You'll learn in a second his thoughts on the congestion tax.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for all coming down here. As a small businessman, my wife and I have been running this business on this block since 1995. And, whatever has come our way, Sandy, 9/11, anything and everything, the community and everyone, we've all rallied around and made it happen. But after COVID and after the difficulties that we went through that, to have this congestion pricing shoved down our throats, it's going to be a death blow. It's going to be a death blow to small businesses like ours, and in the fact that our customers will think twice about coming into the city from Jersey or from Long Island or from Westchester or even from the Upper East Side or Upper West Side, because we're blessed. We get customers from all over. We're very thankful for our petunias, as we call them, that come all the way down here to partake with us. But it's also going to hit us over the head with our vendors, because we get at least 10 deliveries a day. So each one, right now we have like 4 vendors that charge us a fuel surcharge, even though fuel has gone down. So the same thing is going to hit us over the head with the congestion pricing. They're going to hit us with a fee, and there's going to be no control. It's going to be whatever they want to charge at whichever way they want to do it. And if we don't like it, we don't do business with them. And it's just a money grab as far as we're concerned, because it's not like anything's going to get better with the MTA. In 2 years, they'll be telling us that they'll be increasing the congestion pricing to come into Lower Manhattan. So I appreciate these 2 gentlemen for doing what they're doing, whether it's a lawsuit or whatever it is that is to get the attention and to hopefully make a change. And I wish that our local politicians, our city council people, our state, whatever, that they would look into this as well, because this is going to kill New York City at a time where New York needs people to come in, where we need the revenue, we need to pay taxes, we need to help support our city. And like this, we won't be able to. So I step back and I thank you all for coming here and bringing attention to this thing that is really going to kill us as small business owners in New York City. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that works. Sorry. Again, thank you so much. I want to thank Julio for his words and also for making some unbelievable food. And I hope I hope you guys get a chance to try it. And I want to thank Mike Lawler, my good friend and fellow Problem Solver Caucus member from New York and co-chair of the Anti-Congestion Tax Caucus with me. Mike, thank you so much. And I also want to thank Jessica Walker from the Chamber, of the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, for helping organize today. I want to thank her as well. Congressman Lawler and I are here today on East 2nd Street in New York at El Posto, a local mom and pop favorite that's been open since 1999. Ask anyone around here and they'll tell you about this phenomenal restaurant. It's a neighborhood staple that makes some of the best Italian food in New York. So again, please try it if you're in the neighborhood. We're thankful to the owners, a husband and wife duo. Beatrice, I know, is already working on the menu today and cooking, but Julio is here with us. Thanks for welcoming us into the city and for all you do running a small business. Really appreciate it. We're here today because it's important to see firsthand the type of small businesses that will suffer when New York and the MTA stick it, not just to Jersey with the congestion tax, but to their very own New Yorkers. Whether that's a restaurant, a dry cleaner, or a local store. At $15, that's what the congestion tax is, on top of what folks already pay in tolls, gas, and parking, the congestion tax will drive many of El Posto's customers, including tourists and commuters, away from the city, decimating their small business and others just like it. You're talking about, just to put this in perspective for you, based on what the MTA put out, the pricing board put out, about $100 a day, $100 a trip to New York before you get an appetizer or a beer. That's $15 for the congestion tax, $17 to go over the GW Bridge. In my case, from Jersey, leave it to Mike to talk more about him, plus parking and gas. And it's not just Christmas time when folks from Jersey or Rockland County or Westchester drive in and go to restaurants. It's everyday commuters that suddenly won't be able to afford the $15 a day, nearly $4,000 a year congestion tax. And what will happen is they will stay and work from home, many of them. That means they won't be eating here. The ones who can afford to stay at home or shopping down the street are going to a Broadway show. They may ultimately be good for Jersey, understand, if they're staying home in Jersey, but it will crush New York City and undermine the regional economy at a time when New York City is begging Jersey commuters and tourists to come back in. Everybody knows that it's the small businesses like these, they're at the heart and soul of New York City, just like they're the heart and soul of Jersey. If I were trying to jumpstart a city, the last thing I'd do is make it harder for people to come work and visit. It's a slap in the face to every single hardworking small business owner and employee who just wants to put food on the table for their own families. Just look at the list of New York businesses and associations against the congestion tax, and you'll get what I mean. The Manhattan Chamber of Commerce against, Broadway Association against, the restaurant associations, dry cleaners, gyms, trucking associations, taxi associations, limo, Uber, Lyft, and bus companies, the State Builders Association, and the warehouse workers. That's just a few who are opposed to the congestion tax. Even the New York Farm Bureau is against it, and the list goes on. Trucks, depending on their size, will have to pay up to $36 a day. That means delivery trucks bringing goods and supplies, as Julio just talked about, to small businesses will get whacked. That cost will ultimately get passed down to the small businesses and to their customers. But MTA Chairman John Lieber doesn't seem to care. Neither does Government Hochul, nor congressmen like Jerry Nadler. They just need the money for the woefully mismanaged MTA, which loses billions of dollars every year, including $700 million last year alone to fare skippers, people that didn't pay to ride. Because of the congestion tax, next Christmas, I fear that families will be priced out of coming to see the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, or walking past Macy's store front windows, or coming to dinner at El Posto. Every single restaurant, store, dry cleaner, and small business in Manhattan will lose customers. John O. Scrooge Lieber is putting 15 lumps of coal in everyone's stocking this year with his $15 a day congestion tax. If I were a New York City business owner, small, medium, or large, I would call Governor Hochul today and demand that they clean house at the woefully mismanaged MTA. John Samuelson, a great labor leader in the city, who's the international president of the Transit Worker Union, already made his opinion pretty clear. He quit the Congestion Tax Transit Mobility Board the day they released their outrageous small business and commuter crushing plan. I bet he understood what it would do to the local economy in New York and to his workers. To that point, if the MTA goes ahead with the congestion tax, there will people who have no choice but to drive in from Jersey, Rockland, Staten Island, and Westchester. Hardworking people, men and women of labor who have to be on site, the cop or the firefighter, the nurse working their late shift. It's going to hit them hard, $4,000 a year, and they're going to have no choice but to come into work. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, think of all the people who do have a choice, those workers who can work from home. They're going to stay in Jersey and go to a new local office that gets set up when they complain about paying nearly $100 a day to get to work. I bet Jersey will roll out a new Stay in Jersey tax incentive for businesses to move jobs to Jersey, including opening up satellite offices and filling up those empty office parks. All those people from Jersey alone, that's 20% of the traffic that comes into New York congestion zone every single day from Jersey. You know, I fear that those 300,000 who go over the GWB, none of them will be at El Posto for lunch because they're going to stay at home instead of supporting local businesses here. Now they won't be shopping here, they'll be shopping locally in Jersey at a restaurant, a dry cleaner, or a store. Again, it's good for Jersey, terrible for New York. So Governor Hochul, if you want to be selfish, do the math for New York. Don't stick it to your own small businesses, to your own families. Think of how we used to do things together as a regional economy, New York and Jersey working together. That's what led to a century of cooperation of the Port Authority, the bridges, tunnels, airports, and ports. I know this is a giant cash grab for the bottomless pit at the MTA, but it's a net loser for New York when you do the math. Not a nickel is going to Jersey, to our mass transit or to mitigate traffic. That's all true. It's one of the reasons I've been speaking out so loudly. But net, New York is going to lose commuters and tourists that spend money here. I'll keep fighting for Jersey, for those hardworking families every single day, because we can't afford the congestion tax. And our children can't afford the cancer-causing pollution. they'll be billowing from truck traffic backed up at the GW Bridge. We'll keep slapping New York and the MTA with lawsuits, and we're going to win them. In the meantime, I'll be working closely with my Democrat and Republican House colleagues from Jersey and New York in the Anti-Congestion Tax Caucus that I co-chair with Mike, who's been a great leader on this issue, to move expeditiously on federal legislation. Legislation that will cut $2 billion a year that the MTA gets from the federal government if they keep plowing forward. Because if you're going to stick it to us in Jersey, why should we also pay money every year in federal taxes to send to New York to the MTA? But New York can short-circuit it all today. It's pretty easy. They can just back down and say we're going to find a different solution. They got a $229 billion annual budget. They can clean up their own mess with that. I mean, take the $600 million you're sending the Buffalo Bills to build a new stadium. Use it, instead invest in your mass transit. None of us, not Governor Murphy or my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, not the hardworking people in New York City, the small businesses like El Posto, none of the Jersey commuters, none of us are going to stop fighting against the congestion tax because it's about our hardworking families, about making sure they can pay their bills. So I hope whether you're from here, you're from Jersey, you're from Rockland County, you're listening, because Governor Hochul, I hope you're listening, and Jono, I hope you're listening. You got a few months left to change your mind and put your economy first, your workers first. We can work together, Jersey and New York, like we always have, in the greatest country the world has ever known. And I know if we do, our best days will always be ahead. Because when we work together, there's nothing we can't stop, including the congestion tax. And with that, I'm going to turn over to my very good friend, Mike Lawler. Thank you, Mike.
Well, I want to thank Congressman Gottheimer. He has been a great colleague to work with on a whole host of issues, mainly focused on affordability. You know, New York, New Jersey, we pay among the highest taxes in America. We have among the highest cost of living in America. And unfortunately, Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams and Janno Lieber are trying to make it even more cost prohibitive to live in this area. It's why Josh and I co-chair the Anti-Congestion Tax Caucus. It's why we've worked together on lifting the cap on salt, because we are hyper-focused on the affordability crisis impacting New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, and we want to address it. It's why, as a member of the State Assembly, I introduced legislation to kill congestion pricing. It is nothing more than a money grab. It is a scam. This has nothing to do with stopping congestion. Think about this. Janno Lieber and the MTA will tell you they need $1 billion. Well, if you need $1 billion from congestion pricing, obviously you want people to pay that, which means you want people to keep coming in with their vehicles. So this is not about getting rid of congestion. This is about getting money. Why? Because they are the worst run authority in America, bar none. It's not even close. I have said repeatedly the MTA needs an enema, and they do. And I will tell you, small businesses across America, they are the lifeblood of our economy. They are what employs people. They are what makes our economy grow and thrive. And New York has done everything it can to screw small businesses here in New York City and across the state. Now, I represent the immediate suburbs of New York City: Rockland County, Westchester County, Putnam County, and Dutchess County. All four counties are in the MTA region. All four have a seat on the MTA board. And yet our voices are consistently silenced by Governor Hochul, by Mayor Adams, and by Janno Lieber. Rockland County, where I live, we are the only county in the MTA that has a value gap. We pay $50 million more in taxes a year than services we receive. We don't have a one-seat ride. Express rail service has been cut. Now, I met with Janno Lieber just a few months ago, and his response was, oh, well, that's New Jersey Transit's problem because, you know, the Rockland line runs through New Jersey. No, it's your problem. It's your problem. You're the chair of the MTA. My taxpayers pay into the MTA to fund it. So on top of the $50 million value gap that we have, you're now telling my taxpayers who cross over the George Washington Bridge or the Tappan Zee Bridge that they have to, in addition to the toll they pay, they now have to pay $15 a day to come into New York City. The cop, the firefighter, the teacher, the doctor, the nurse that work in Lower Manhattan, the restaurant owners, those that supply goods and services, electricity, gas, all of those folks, they have to pay an additional $15 a day. For the average Rockland County resident or Westchester County resident or Putnam County resident, that would be an additional $4,000 a year at a time when grocery bills are through the roof, at a time when gas prices are through the roof, at a time when a home mortgage rate is at a 20-year high, and people can barely afford to make ends meet. There's a reason New York leads the nation in out-migration. It has nothing to do with the weather. Yes, it's a little chilly today, but guess what? It has everything to do with the cost of living and everything to do with the cost of owning and operating a business. People are tired of it. They're tired of it. And this governor is so incompetent, so incapable of leading. She goes along to get along. She has increased spending by over $50 billion in 3 years. It is unsustainable. New York City is cutting police services. They are doing across-the-board cuts because of the migrant crisis they're dealing with. The woeful, inept leadership in this state is pathetic. You look at the MTA, they talk about the need for $1 billion. Guess what? Enforce the cost of riding the MTA at the turnstiles. Over $500 million stolen from the MTA from people refusing to pay to ride the MTA. But my commuters, my residents are going to have to pay an additional $1 billion across this whole system? It's a joke. It's a total joke. This is nothing more than a money grab. It's a scam, and it's going to hurt commuters and small business owners like Julio across the board. And it is going to prevent people from coming in to this city. If crime wasn't bad enough and a big enough reason not to come into this city, put the $15 toll on top of it, and people will tell New York to drop dead because they've had enough. So we gotta reverse this. The governor needs to show a backbone. She needs to show leadership. She needs to tell Jano Lieber to sit down and back off, because this money grab has got to stop.